Hi guys, and welcome to Cooking with Fat Julie, where I share tips and tricks in the kitchen as well as quick and easy recipes. Today I'm going to show you how to make my favorite chocolate chips. The first thing you're going to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Then you're going to take 2/3 of a cup of melted butter and throw that in your bowl. Then 2 cups of brown sugar. And since I can't find brown sugar in France, I'm going to use cane sugar, which is really not as good, but it's all I can get. Then you're going to add 2 eggs. Two tablespoons of hot water, 2 2/3 cups of flour. Now if you're playing with the recipe like I am, you might need a little more or a little less flour depending on how much sugar you put in there. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I like to put in milk chocolate chips, which I can't find here in France, so I usually buy 2 bars of milk chocolate and cut those up instead of 1 package of milk chocolate chips. Today I have cut up 2 tablets of white chocolate because it was actually better quality chocolate and at a better price than the milk chocolate. So there we go. We'll see how that turns out. So I'm going to throw that in and I'm going to mix it up. Now with chocolate chip cookies you want it sticky, but you don't want it so sticky that you can't get them off your spoon and onto your tray. The other thing is, if you're like me and you like your chocolate chip cookies to be chewy, what you want to do is put in a little more butter than what the recipe calls for. And just like all the other recipes that I shared with you, you really need to play with them a little bit to find out what you really like best. I know that I definitely prefer using brown sugar. I also know that I definitely prefer putting in a little bit more butter, but it really all depends. Now with these cookies, and of course making sure your hands are clean, I have found that it's a lot easier, once I've mixed it as much as I can with the spoon, to just put my hands in there and mix it by hand. Now I've never made this with white chocolate, but I've made this a ton of times with milk chocolate, and I can tell you that everybody loves these cookies. So with these cookies, this is what my batter looks like now. You can just take a little bit and throw it on your pan, but what I like to do is grab a little bit and roll it in my hand and make it into a ball, and that makes your cookies a lot rounder. I also like to make sure I make these cookies small because people tend to take more than one of them and they go really quickly. This is what my cookies look like right before I throw them in the oven. I'm going to stick them in there for about 6 minutes. Now remember, this is going to depend on the size of your cookies and the temperature that your stove actually heats at. So just check them and make sure they look good. Because I'm making my cookies chewy, they're not going to look totally cooked when they come out, and I'll show you what that looks like. And just another quick tip, I once threw in a 1/2 cube of chewy caramel. I rolled that into the middle of my cookies and they were absolutely amazing. This is what my cookies look like once they've come out of the oven. If you can see, I know it's kind of hard to see, the bottom have browned, but the top looks terribly undercooked, and it's made even worse by the white chocolate. But I assure you they are cooked. This is what they look like once they've been out of the oven for about 10 minutes. With the cookie dough that I have left over at the end, I usually make the letter of somebody's name. So that's my tutorial on how to make chocolate chip cookies. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you've got a favorite cookie recipe that you'd like to share or that you'd like me to try. Leave your comments down below and don't forget to subscribe. Bon appétit!